This will be for the Khan Academy assignment, solve triangles using the law of sines. So the formula for the law of sines, we have sine of an angle A divided by A equals sine of an angle B divided by B equals sine of an angle C divided by C. Okay, you don't need to use all three. You can use any two at a time and you will have an equation. The capital letters represent the angle measurements and the lowercase letters represent the side lengths. So if you have a triangle ABC, the lowercase letter will be across from the respective uppercase letter. So side length A will be across from angle A. Side length B is across from angle B. Side length C is across from angle C. So here we have triangle ABC with the side lengths to the nearest tenth. Okay, notice we have two side lengths given and one angle given. And they want us to find the measure of angle A and round to the nearest degree. So as we said in the beginning, you don't need to use all three fractions. You can use any two fractions at a time. And as you can see from this drawing here, we're looking to find angle A, and we have the measurement for angle C. So angle B is basically out of the question. So we're not even going to use that fraction. So let's start with the sine of angle A. We don't know angle A. And we said lowercase a is the side length across from angle A. So lowercase a is going to be 16. Then we have the sine of angle C. Here's angle C right here. So that's going to be 40 degrees, sine of 40. And divided by lowercase c, that's going to be the side length across from angle C. So that's just 12. And now you can either cross multiply or just multiply both sides by 16. And 16 over 16 cancels. And we have the sine of A equals this mess over here. Okay, in order to get rid of the sine function, you want to take the inverse sine on both sides. So I'm just going to use the inverse sine here. And then I'll use the inverse sine on the other side. And we're going to use the inverse sine of this whole mess right here. Okay, inverse sine and sine cancel. Now on the right-hand side, the sine and sine don't necessarily cancel because you have other numbers within that function. Okay, so you have to do this whole thing in parentheses and then take the inverse sine. So some calculators work a little differently. This is the Google calculator. I'm going to evaluate this part in parentheses. Okay, make sure it's set to degrees. See, the degrees is in boldface here and not the radians. So I'll do sine of 40 divided by 12. Sine of 40, close the parentheses, divided by 12, hit equals, and then times 16. Hit equals again. Now I'm going to take that answer and I'll take the inverse sine of that answer. So I'm going to click INV for inverse. That's inverse sine of the answer that I got. Okay, and you can close the parentheses if you want, hit equals again, and that is our angle in degrees. Okay, they said round to the nearest angle, so since it's 58.9, rounded off is 59. So on the left, we said inverse sine and sine cancel, and we're left with angle A is 59 degrees. Now, before we go and type 59 in the box, just looking at this angle A, you can see that it is greater than 90 degrees. Also, it says that measure of angle A is obtuse, so it's going to be more than 90 degrees. So if you recall, for the sine of an angle theta, it also equals the sine of 180 minus that angle theta. Okay, so for the sine function, theta and 180 minus theta are equivalent. So for some of your answers, you may have to subtract the angle from 180. So in this case, the angle A is just going to be 180 minus 59. And in that case, it equals 121. So that's our final answer. So just be careful with the sine function. See if your answer makes sense. And if not, just subtract it from 180. So click inside the box and type 121. So here again, we have triangle ABC. We have two angles and one side length. They want us to find side length AB and round to the nearest tenth. So here's side length AB. Okay, we can call it X, but we can see it's directly across from angle C. So I'm just going to call it lowercase c. And over here, the other side length is across from angle B. Okay, so we're going to have to solve for angle B. We know the angles inside a triangle add to 180, so we can just subtract these two from 180. All right, so for this one here, we're just going to do 180 minus 65 plus 81. Okay, so I get 34 degrees for the missing angle. So we're going to be working with angle B and angle C. All right, so the formula will be sine of B over lowercase b equals sine of C over lowercase c. All right, we can see angle B is 34. So that's going to be the sine of 34. And across from angle B, that is lowercase b, the side length. And then we have the sine of C. Here's angle C right here. So that's going to be the sine of 81. And across from that, 81 is the side length, lowercase c. Okay, that's what we're looking for. So you can cross multiply. This is going to be C times sine of 34. And then 10 times sine of 81. Okay, solving for C, since it's times sine of 34, we're going to do the opposite and divide both sides by the sine of 34. On the left-hand side, sine of 34 over sine of 34 cancels. And we're just going to do this on the calculator. Make sure you're set to degrees. Okay, so I'm going to click degrees, make sure DEG is in boldface. 10 sine of 81. You can put 10 times sine of 81, but you don't have to. Okay, close the parentheses, 10 sine of 81, and then divide it by the sine of 34. Sine of 34. Close parentheses. Okay, there's your equation. Hit equals. And I think they said round to the nearest tenth. So since the second decimal is 5 or more, this is going to be 17.7. So just click inside the box and type 17.7. Nearest tenth is 1 decimal place.